We've all been there. You've just gone to a certain place at a certain time on a certain date, done a special thing, and the thing you suspected would happen has just fucking happened. Not to mention the fact that you've just seen whatever the fuck it is that lives in your mirror, been told in detail how you're gonna die, and the highly demonic and invincible thing you summoned is heading towards you. Also, your family are all dead, your friends are all missing, and you're being framed by someone with access to your bedroom. What the fuck do you do now, sweet protagonist? Well, you've come to the right place to find out. These are the simple rules one must follow in order to, firstly, not become the victim of creepypasta, and furthermore, to come out kicking if the worst does happen. With the help of this guide, you too can be the catatonic, traumatized wreck, as opposed to the guy currently being worn as a coat by some dude who roams a lot. Just keep these simple rules in mind. Rule number 1. Mirrors and darkness don't mix. Rule number 2. Actually, mirrors are a general no, and in the creepypasta world, there's nothing more sinister. Rule number 3. There is 0 chance of survival if you look at the thing that no one else can see or answer its question incorrectly. Rule number 4. If you're alone at night in a creepy mental institution, take some time to consider what the fuck you're doing there. Then, if it's appropriate to do so, leave. Rule number 5. Avoid going to places where everyone else who went there never came back or died inexplicably. Number 6. If someone stops your vehicle at night and asks to come with you, it would probably be in your best interests to politely decline. Number 7. Killing is the last method of survival. Use it sparingly, but without fear. Rule number 8. Who was phone is always a good thing to ponder. Also, who the hell answers a phone while kissing a dead person's sexy daughter? A douche is who. Rule number 9. Get a simple .38 revolver. Load it with 2 silver bullets. If you really feel there is no chance to come out alive in a situation, well, take 1 shot at whatever that is threatening you. If this doesn't work, you still have the last shot to become an hero with. Rule number 10. Area 51 is simply too well guarded to let you get in, or to let any alien out. Rule number 11. When going to a hotel, try to steer clear of unauthorized areas. If you couldn't resist, but you saw a red thing, take some time to consider the price range and hotel standard on your next visit. Have you ever stayed at a haunted Hilton? Rule number 12. When booking your hotel stay, TripAdvisor can be an invaluable tool in deeming whether your choice is the scene of a multiple murder, full of dead people, or built at the mouth of hell. Local newspapers can also be helpful. Rule number 13. Invoking demons, speaking weird languages, and performing rituals of any kind is considered dangerous. Refrain from doing that, especially around abandoned warehouses, churches, psychiatric institutions, and woods, and your house in front of a mirror at night. Rule number 14. When going to a new area, environmental understanding is a key to survival. Ask around for cursed places, legends, dangers, and other details. Listen to the local people's advice. And don't be afraid to ask if you're unsure of which attacks or disappearances are paranormal and which aren't. Rule number 15. Always have a Bible next to your bed. Provides average reading material, proof of beliefs, and a really heavy and effective object to throw at enemies. Rule number 16. Don't count on holy water. Get a sturdy vial of sulfuric acid and let a priest consecrate it. Rule number 17. Japanese priests cleanse rooms by waving katana swords around. Their ritual is 100% effective on corporeal forms. Rule number 18. If you find 666 messages on your phone, mailbox, email, etc., consider changing the said service provider. Also, don't bother listening or reading the messages. It's spam. Extra-dimensional, possibly. But spam, nevertheless. Rule number 19. Old pharmaceutical companies can't help you. Unless you specifically need blood of the innocent, snake oil, and radioactive syrup. Which is never. Rule number 20. If you need to sign it in blood, you do not need to sign it. All mainstream governing bodies will accept contracts signed in ink. Bear this in mind if offered deals that seem too good to be true. Rule number 21. Lighthouses are dangerous. Avoid them at all costs. If you work at a lighthouse, consider a career in insurance sales or veterinary care. Rule number 22. There is simply no reason to listen to music that causes suicidal tendencies. Rule number 23. Or to watch films that have had strange or disastrous consequences. Rule number 24. If you like to plan ahead and have some money, buy your auntie and uncle a house in Bel Air. Nothing can harm you there, no matter how scared your mother is. Rule number 25. Secret, secluded, untouched places in old buildings are left untouched for a reason. Pioneers never say die, but in fact they do have an unusually high mortality rate. Rule number 26. Before you start swimming in the ice-cold waters of a murky lake at the center of a dark forest at midnight, ask yourself, do you really want to travel to an ancient and terrifying city? If the answer is no, then stay home instead and enjoy whatever quality programming is available on Cinemax. Rule number 27. On your 33rd birthday, try celebrating it in a well-lit house with the company of others. Rule number 28. Refrain from using the one true name for anything. There's probably a reason people gave it a nick. Rule number 29. Watching TV static for long periods of time may be hazardous to your health. Try satellite TV or Freeview to combat this problem. Rule number 30. Get a cat. Those furry little hairballs seem to perceive unnatural phenomena better than us, and, if desperate, simply throw it at whatever is about to get you. Rule number 31. Safety in numbers. If you're getting a bit too freaked out, grab a few friends, any and all firearms, and avoid the area in question. Rule number 32. Cemeteries are bad places, especially in foggy conditions and on Halloween. Rule number 33. Try not to close your eyes. Ever. If you must, do so only briefly. If something has moved from its original location in the time it has taken you to blink, it is best that you do not blink again until you have dealt with said object. Rule number 34. If you ever find an unmarked tape which contains the file extension .avi, even if it's one of your favorite kids show, do not, under any circumstances, watch that tape. Rule number 35. If you hear chanting, run until you are out of earshot. Rule number 36. If you are too old to play with dolls, you do not need to be anywhere near one of the creepy little fuckers. Rule number 37. Legends can offer valuable insight of where to go and where not to go camping with friends. Rule number 38. When babysitting, ascertain the family's tastes and preferences to avoid being killed by poorly selected statues. Rule number 39. Even if you're certain that running will not save you, it's always best to try. Rule number 40. When you go to buy a used video game, whether it's at a game shop or a garage sale, never, ever buy one with a weird-looking cartridge. This includes strange colors, altered covers, and ripped-off labels with titles written in marker. The latter tends to happen more often than not. You should also be highly suspicious of games priced too cheaply and bootlegs. Rule number 41. If you decide to buy the used game anyway, rip that son of a bitch out of your console the moment it starts acting funny and take a hammer to it. Rule number 42. One last thing that must be written. If you ever see a strangely new-looking doorway with a strange face on it, on a building you swore you didn't see at first, and the building happens to be an old chateau, don't fucking open it. Rule number 43. It's probably best to refrain from looking up on Google the phrase, "Huskies with grins." You'll just end up having to spread the word. Rule number 44. Never allow someone to take a picture of you with an outdated camera. If it's too late, your only bet is to gamble with death. Or just trap them in a photo. That works too. Rule number 45. Don't play with dolls if they come with a needle or a defect. Especially a defect. Rule number 46. Burn Ouija boards. But be sure to have one of those car fresheners handy. The real reason why spirits get pissed off is because of that foul aroma that it produces when burned. Rule number 47. Never confront animated puppets physically. Subdue them with spells, or they'll come back with minions or in a real physical body. Rule number 48. If you find yourself unable to escape, dancing may ward off the entity. Doing the hokey pokey is known to ward off curious monsters, but you might have to do the moonwalk to deal with zombies. Rule number 49. If you're checking your computer for viruses and you go too deep into System 32, creepy tapes on you, bitch! Rule number 50. If you see a homicidal raccoon with a rocket launcher, don't go fucking near it. Rule number 51. If you see old tapes containing the words happy or appy, pretend you never saw them and go on with your life. Rule number 52. If you buy a used camcorder and find the previous owner left one of their tapes inside, refrain from watching that tape, no matter how tempting it may be. Rule number 53. Be careful when buying an old, second-hand TV. Rule number 54. If you see a guy with both an incredibly large smile and black and white eyes, run. Rule number 55. Don't go to a friend's house to bake cupcakes if they have random spurts of insanity. Rule number 56. Phone companies with low coverage are best avoided. Rule number 57. .exe files with strange names are not safe. Don't open them. Rule number 58. For the love of Neptune, please turn off their fucking faucet when you're done with it. Rule number 59. If you are told to not look behind you, it's best to do so, unless you're against a wall. Rule number 60. Also, do not listen to anybody who tells you to go to sleep. It's better to run away. Rule number 61. If you see a tall man with tentacles, run! Rule number 62. Do not install programs with the number 666 on them. Rule number 63. Don't enter strange websites. Rule number 64. Don't enter strange places. Rule number 65. Not even strange videos. Rule number 66. If a woman who covers her mouth asks you if she is beautiful, tell her she's average. Rule number 67. No good can ever come from owning a shiny Pokemon. Rule number 68. If you're an intern at a cartoon studio and you happen to be reviewing a new episode, make sure the episode is safe for work before viewing that shit. Rule number 69. Don't be so hesitant when being asked to look behind you. But don't take forever. No reason to keep certain death waiting. Rule number 70. Weird shit in Europe won't hurt you in the United States. Cool beans. Rule number 71. Weird shit in the United States won't hurt you in Europe. Well, damn. Rule number 72. Should you break Rule 55, there is always a chance of rescue. Rule number 73. If your brother is tired of noise, or if your close friend has a brother like that, refrain from going into his basement unless you want to be tortured, raped, and killed. Rule number 74. If you buy a memory card and it has save data in it, delete all of the saves. Rule number 75. If you get a drawing of Sonic on a disc, and in that disc is a .exe file called Sonic, don't play it. Destroy it, or a demonic being that looks like Sonic will kill you. Rule number 76. Whatever you do, do not become afflicted with slender sickness. Unless you want to become one of the undead. Rule number 77. If you see what appears to be a 12-year-old kid with black shorts, a gray, bloody shirt, red shades, and a maniac grin, do not, under any circumstances, piss him off. Rule number 78. Whatever you do, download Sonic Roboblast 2 from a link from the official website. Rule number 79. Even on Christmas, paranormal activity can happen. Follow these simple rules, and little or massive harm may befall you. Either way, the important thing is to make sure your tale is told, copied, and pasted repeatedly. Have a nice day, everyone.